Okay, so I want to go over at least one section of the patch notes, basically saying that you can't vendor a level 20 gem, at least a skill gem, with a Gemcutter's Prism or GCP for a level 1 version with 20 quality. But you can still do that recipe for non-awakened support gems. So GCP values go up, everyone knows this, but I want to just go over like maybe some of the basics of like, why and how to get them. So why does it matter? Well, GCPs unlocks basically utility or power, and a lot of that now is basically 20 GCPs gets you a helm enchant, which is a lot better. The way to get these alt quality transfigured gems, or to maybe even get quality on your gems, is to go do the labyrinth. So while you're sending, you'll get a few chances for this, and if you want more, you have to do more. But let's say you don't want to do labyrinth, and you just want the GCPs, right? Because you can buy the quality gems, which is easy, but maybe you don't want to because you're doing like you want to make 2120 gems, you want to make a Val version of gems. So the cost comes from when you start doing stuff like that, when you start making 2120 level 21 gems with 20 quality, or Val versions of it. So those are gonna take multiple 20 quality gems to hit to level 20 and then valing them, and they won't always get what you want. So the cost goes up from there. So some people think that it's gonna be 5 chaos per GCP. And I think that's a little bit high. It might be that though, but I want to go with a low ball, so we'll go with like 2 chaos per GCP, which is a little bit more, I think, than the current prices of normal leagues before this patch note change. But because of that, then what is like the cost of that? Well, if you aren't trying to trade multiple people for one gem at a time, you want to buy in bulk, then each gem is just going to cost you 20 GCPs, and if you just want a basic 2020, that's going to be 40C. It's going to be 40 chaos per 2020, or a 20 quality gem. So 20Q. And that adds up, right? Because now if you want to do a 21 version, because that's just your initial cost of the skill you want to use, now you want a 21 version usually, because that's usually, more power for spells usually. And you want to do offhands, so you're going to need like what? The basic number is like 6 offhand. 6 gems leveling offhand. Or weapon swap. That's 120 GCPs. So now that's 240C. That's a low end. So if it were to 5C, then it's 600C. So 600C if 5C per. So 600C, that's quite a few divines, even in softcore, right? That's like probably like at least 3 or about 3 if on the high end, and then if it's like lower than that, then it's more than that. So. And then it's only 6 off for 6 gems leveling. A lot of people that do this will do 9. So if you're doing like, the basic exceptional gems, they're used to doing like 9 gems at a time, right? So it's like people that do a lot of exceptional gem leveling are probably used to this, where it's like, because this is how it is normally, where you don't, this is the only way to give them quality, and then they level up faster. So if you do 9 gems, then, it goes up to be, what, 50% more? So it's 360C or 900C if you're doing 9 gems. So it adds up really quickly. Again, this is if you're leveling and if you get unlucky, so it's like, why not just buy the gems at that point and just find better money makers? But this is like early in the league, right? So everyone needs this. So I mean, everyone's buying GCPs for their gems, and they're just trying to level up their own and maybe get level 21 versions of theirs. So that is one way to make money, is to maybe sell off your GCPs that you acquire to them, and maybe you'll just buy your transfigured gem with that's 2120 or a Val version. The Val version should be much more expensive, but again, it depends if it's meta or not, and if you can even find it. So that's just what I'm saying. It's like it could be anywhere between 360 to 900C, just a level 9 gems. You may not even hit your 2120, so it could be even more than that. So if you maybe find a gem that's only like a 2120 version that's worth like a divine or 2, that might be a super steal with the new meta change. So it might just be easier just to wait and then buy it cheap if you can snipe them for only a divine or 2, which sounds insane, but I think that's a possibility. Okay, so now that we know or believe that GCPs are expensive, now we need to figure out how to get them. So you can get them like naturally from monsters. So there's kill monsters, get drops. You can pick them up like quality gems and vendor them. So there's 2 recipes here, quality. So if you sell 1 gem, that has, or with 20 quality, you'll get 1 GCP. Which probably isn't worth it, but maybe if it's just like support gems, it's fine. But it's like, I think for skill gems, it's not. And then the other recipe is to have multiple gems, which do another line. Multiple gems that add up to 40 quality, and when you vendor them, like they add up to 40 quality total, and they'll equal 1 GCP as well. So when you vendor, so these are 2 vendor recipes basically. So vendor recipe, let's see, vendor recipes. So yeah, here you go. So that's one way, and then if you think of it this way, you can do strong boxes, because the artisan one specifically can give GCPs. So artisan strong boxes. And the last one is divination cards. And we can use the wiki for this. So let's click here, and we go to GCP page. We can see that there's the recipes and stuff. I just know them offhand from just playing the game, but the wiki can back it up. Maybe not the artisan strongbox part. And then we also see the divination cards. Well, all these are random except for the union. The union gives 10 GCPs for only 7 cards. So click on that, and we see what maps it's on. And it's only on these few maps: cemetery, graveyard, and grave trough. Well, graveyard, I believe, is rotating out, and no one wants to farm grave trough, so cemetery. And cemetery is a good map because it can give you a divination card that gives you divines, and a divination card that gives exalts. So it's pretty basic stuff. So cemetery basically is how you want to do your divination cards. So cemetery farming seems really good in this upcoming league. And at the moment, I don't know what tier it is, but I think this is what leads to the next point, is basically what I think I'm going to do for the POE Planner, because I know that GCPs are going to be expensive, and if you want to level multiple gems and quality of them, it becomes pretty pricey. And maybe if you want to make extra currency, this is one way to do it. I did a little bit of testing on the cemetery map, and the cards are rare. I mean, the currency itself is rare as well. So if you go back here, it is considered a rare currency. Let's see here. I think it says it's somewhere rare. Yeah, so because they're relatively rare, it's a rare item as well. Rare items. So it's worth farming my own, and that's what I will do. So I think I will move on to the POE Planner of like cemetery, because I don't know what tier map it is. I'll have like 2 trees for farming GCPs. We'll start with this one. So let's say it's a white tier map like it is this league. So this, or TOA during the previous league in 3.22, I believe. It's a tier 4 map, but because of that, then if it's a white tier map initially, then it's a lot easy to farm early on, but also changes the strategy. So early on, I do want to get access to Jun, so I would probably go for this stuff first before I do worry about anything related to farming the map itself. So it's like you want gear progression, so this would be the best way as I see it. Getting Jun first, and then moving on. So we can use this up here and go here. And because it's such a low tier map, I wouldn't mind running essences with it. So essences will give you a lot of basic currency early on, I believe, especially if you're in hardcore, but also for crafting. So you want to start doing essences. So once we get up here is probably when I would probably, I mean, the order doesn't really matter that much, but you can go for essences first, and you always want to go to this side because remnants of corruption are really important for leveling up the essences. And then we will move up here and get this. So basic essence farming, and then if you feel like you're strong enough, then grab these as well, so you get even more essences. And because it's not on the map device though, I would look to actually force it more. So because you want to get the 7th gate, then you can do this. Grab these 2 nodes here, and then travel up here to grab. Doesn't really matter which order, you can go. I like to do this path, because you won't always necessarily want to grab these nodes if in case you don't feel like you're able to do like a 6 or 7 essence monster early on, or you feel like it takes too long. So this route is fine, or you can go from down here. and then you grab this, and now that you have 6 gates, you can go for the 7th gate, and now you have every map device option on your map device. So you force essences onto every map, and that will basically give you a lot of basic essences for currency and stuff. And then I would do strong boxes, so that would be that, and grab all these. And actually I would also look to grab these nodes. I wouldn't grab the rarity one because you don't want to corrupt your gems coming out of the strong boxes, and because yeah, you just don't want to corrupt the gems. So, and then I guess the maps as well if you want more maps. So I think this would be a pretty good skeleton base to go from, and then after that you want to just make sure you get more strong boxes and essences. So one way to do that is the stream of consciousness. This will give you that, and then you start blocking. So if you want to start blocking, you can do no more delirium, which I wouldn't do normally, but if you really want to force like all of the essences and strong boxes only, then you would do that, because the GCPs can get doubled and the divination cards can get doubled. So that's the main reason to do strong boxes, especially on cemetery. And I think that would be like a super basic tree there, and you can extend it further. Like I left the breach one open because I think that adds a lot of monsters to kill. So if you want to magic find on cemetery early on, the extra monsters from breach would be pretty good. And then there's all the breach nodes that are within reach over here and here. So I would probably like Chiula, or yeah, Chiula. And then I would probably go for this node first, because if you can't clear every monster that quickly, and then once you get stronger, then you can start making the breach faster and unspec out of that. And then you also want more monsters, so you want to travel up here and then grab all these. So there's a ton of points there, but it's like just my opinion of like maybe what to add. And then even more stuff over here as well for breach. So there's a ton of points, but these are just like extras. If you feel like you want to do it. But again, this is just for like a white tier map. And if you feel like you want to do breach, if you don't have to do whatever mechanic you want. It's just if you want more divination cards or more by killing more monsters. And then eventually you can unspec out some points like these when you get when you don't need syndicate as much for crafts or like basic gear. So I think this is a pretty good basic skeleton for at least a white tier cemetery. And then because red tier maps are a little bit more annoying, and then the red tier essences become a lot spookier, I would unspec out of the essences for if it's red tier cemetery, which it might well be, because GCPs are more valuable and they may just push up or force people to farm higher tier maps. Then for red tier maps, I would unspec out of all of that. You can still do breaches if you want to, but I would instead do Keurig missions. I would probably pick up Keurig missions earlier before red tier maps, so then you can get more Atlas completion. I guess also this would be useful when doing the white tier version. So I would pick this node up before doing any of the blocking, at least, just because that extra Keurig mission will help you with your Atlas completion by a lot, because he will reset his inventories to sell you, and maybe I'll even offer you maps that you can use for Atlas completion. So anyways, if it were red tier cemetery, I would maybe go breaches again. I think that's fine. But I think for a skeleton, I think this is pretty good. And I would also, now because it's red tier, for like doing T14, T16s, then I would also grab all of these nodes, because the Exarch portion has a chance to give GCPs as an option, and also because you get more, you get the extra Eldritch essences. So it's just more value per map to have this there. Anything else I'm missing? Oh yeah, and because it's in red tier maps, I would also go for shrines. Shrines will make it a little bit safer, faster, and easier. So these are all pretty powerful and very few points here. So if you want to, you can put in shrines as well. And I think that's pretty good for if you were to start farming cemetery and red tier maps. And also because if you're not doing essences, you can unspec out all these points as well. Well, not these, you need this to jump, but you can spec out this one and spec out this one. So you can save a ton of points like that. So I think this tree is pretty bare bones and has 40 up to like 40 points optional to spec into other places as well, to whatever you decide to choose. But yeah, I think the base idea is to have okay, let's actually take that out. So it's just strong boxes, blocking, and Eldridge for at least the red tier cemetery. And I think that's about it for at least my initial thoughts on like farming for GCPs.